Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another video that we're going to be checking out about going around the world. Damn, I couldn't talk. Leaked document: Putin's plans to capture Belarus by 2030. Bro, can't capture Ukraine right now, bro. You worried about the wrong things right now.
Putin's regime has been exposed, and the secret plans that have been revealed will shock you. Internal strategy documents from Vladimir Putin's executive office have been leaked, and they show that while Putin has been distracting the world with the invasion of Ukraine, the scope of his ambitions is much, much larger.
Oh, really?
According to the leaked documents, it seems that Putin is out to absorb not only territories of Ukraine, but he also wants to absorb Belarus into the Russian fold, making them all states of Russia.
Documents have revealed Putin's designs on other
European
countries.
This document, as you mentioned, was written by the presidential administration itself. This is Putin's inner sanctum.
Putin's government has plans to take full control over Belarus within a few years.
Belarus could allow Russian troops to launch a new attack on Ukraine from Belarusian soil.
Russia's plans to annex Belarus, to incorporate Belarus into a union state with Russia.
There's this theory out there that Putin's end goal is the restoration of the Soviet Union, but nobody could see the clear steps that could be taken to realize that goal. These leaked documents that come from the presidential executive office itself reveals those plans.
Why are they leaking his
detail.
plans? You did not agree
In this
with them?
video, I'll talk about what the documents say, what Putin's plan for Belarus is, and why it's so important for Putin that Belarus is absorbed into Russia. Last but not least, what implication does this have on United States foreign policy, especially amidst this time of war? Let's dive in. Please take a second to like this video. It helps with countering the bots that tend to fill the comment section, and it helps with the reach of the video. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the Business Basics family. Let's go. When Putin first attacked Ukraine, many thought that it was an impulsive decision led by greed, or the need for preservation, depending on what side of the fence you're on. A look into the Belarus documents seems to prove otherwise, as is carefully detailed by this manifesto-like guide. You see, Putin plans to absorb Belarus into Russia by 2030. What is currently an independent country is soon going to be a Russian territory, and Putin has meticulously composed a plan to go about it. According to a Western intelligence officer with direct knowledge of the document, Russia's domestic, foreign, and military intelligence services, the FSB, SVR, and GRU respectively, are all in cahoots to further this agenda. The resulting document that details it all, from which I'm extracting this sensitive information, was then presented in 2021. The now leaked strategy document that was obtained through great strides by an internal consortium of journalists from Yahoo News and its several partners gives quite an eye-opening view. It's claimed that the author of the strategy document is the Presidential Directorate for Cross-Border Cooperation. This is a subdivision of Putin's presidential administration, which was established 5 years ago with somewhat undefined parameters. I suppose we now know what those parameters are. Everything from the political, economic, and military plans have already been laid out in a step-by-step manner that makes it just horrifying to imagine. If you thought that such things couldn't possibly happen in the 21st century, you're in for a wake-up call. This is happening, and there are receipts to prove it. However, unlike his approach to Ukraine, which was hostile from the start, Putin's plan is to woo and coerce Belarus.
How?
You see, the neighboring state has already been enjoying good relations with Russia.
He's going
so much so that they've played despicable roles in the war with Ukraine at the behest of Russia.
Damn.
Putin is planning on taking advantage of this friendship and meekness to drag Belarus into its sphere even deeper. The documents that were initially obtained by Yahoo News say that there was less than 7 years for Putin's plan to come to fruition. The date that has actually been placed on this formation as a Russia-Belarus union state is 2030, the turn of the decade. As I mentioned before, everything has been planned in detail down to the finest particulars. Anything you can think of, from the law, judicial system, coordinated foreign and defense policy, trade and economic cooperation, all of it has been detailed. Even the merging of cultural influences and interests has been detailed.
Damn.
What this means to me is that the process has already started. It's significant to me that Russia plants are already in various spheres of the Belarus structure pushing this agenda forward. And that, my friends, is a scary thought. You know those movies where you have an imperial force that makes you think you're making your own decisions, only to realize that you're furthering a greater agenda? Yeah, Belarus is giving off those vibes right now, and it is scary. To think that in less than a decade, Belarus as a sovereign nation will not exist, but instead be a vassal and a part of Russia, pulled and pushed at the whims of Moscow? It's scary. First we had Crimea, then the entirety of Ukraine, and now Belarus. What Putin is doing is pretty apparent.
What is he trying to do right here? Is he trying to get all these states right here?
As NATO grows its own power, Russia is also reclaiming what Putin feels is his legacy, the restoration.
This game, you're not ready.
Of the Soviet Union. Will his appetite be quenched, or does he plan to reclaim it all? And I know someone in the comments is going to say, but hey, business basics. The document says that Putin is aiming for a union state, not annexation. Well, you're right, in theory. But when you look at the full scope of Russia and Belarus, the idea of a union is kind of laughable. It will never be a union of equals, given the disparity of strength and wealth between these two nations.
That makes sense.
That union talk is just Putin's way of making the language colorful. It's very akin to what he said when Ukraine was invaded. Do you remember? He called it a military exercise. The truth is, Belarus as a nation will be wiped off the face of the earth.
Damn.
I'm starting to think that all Putin sees when he looks at his neighbors are runaway rogue states, and he is on a holy mission to bring the lost sheep home. It's no wonder then how several countries within Russia's sphere all ran to NATO's arms for protection. It was to prevent situations exactly like this. Yes, I'm talking about Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland. What makes it funny is that they are Belarus's direct neighbors, an important fact that I'm gonna dive into in just a minute. For right now, let's look at why Putin has made Belarus his very next target, and why, unlike Ukraine, he's going about it somewhat peacefully, if we can call it that. Another point I want to emphasize is this. This is big news in a geopolitical climate that is moving very fast. And if you want to keep up with the world's most important geopolitical news, I highly recommend you sign up for my free newsletter, Global Recaps. Every week I send out an email covering the most important geopolitical news in a simple way. And I know that if you're watching this video, then you will definitely enjoy the newsletter. So please sign up now by clicking on the link in the description.
People know Vladimir Putin as well as Alexander Lukashenko, the authoritarian leader of Belarus.
Alexander Lukashenko granted permission for Russian forces to mass on his border.
And that's something that Ukrainians have really got to worry about.
President Biden toured Kyiv with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. An air raid siren went off. The alarm on Monday morning was triggered by a Russian MiG fighter jet taking off in Belarus, which borders Ukraine to the north.
I'm also ready to wage war together with the Russian if anyone, even one soldier, comes to our land from Ukraine.
This is Belarus, and this is where it lies in relation to the other Soviet satellite states. The nation was a part of the Soviet Union and became an independent country in 1991, along with many other nations after the USSR collapsed. Since then, it has maintained close economic and political ties with Russia. However, unlike Poland, Latvia, and other nations who ran from Moscow as soon as they could, Belarus maintained very close relationships with Moscow. Initially, Belarus played the card of a neutral party, and they played it pretty well. The Belarusian territory was even used as neutral ground for various peace meetings, as Belarus maintained friendly relations with both Russia and other European nations. However, things flipped significantly when the 2020 presidential election came around. You see, much in the dictatorship fashion of Putin himself, Alexander Lukashenko had been the president of Belarus since 1994.
Damn.
He always won elections in landslide victories, but this was something that various international observers always objected to. In short, the elections in Belarus were deemed to be unfair and rigged. That is why when the results of the election were announced, and Lukashenko was declared the winner in a massive landslide victory, the people objected. Lukashenko's opponent was a popular man who had been projected to win.
Is he in
Even
China?
if he had lost, however, the 80% national vote for Lukashenko versus his 10% vote was pretty clearly vote tampering. He objected to the results, the US objected to the results, European allies objected to the results, and most importantly, the people objected to the results. This led to mass protests. And when I say these protests were wild, I mean it. They were wild.
Yeah, it's not
the
even
scene
a bit
for weeks
able
on
to be on
end
YouTube.
was like this.
The streets of Minsk, Belarus's capital, filled with protesters.
Chaos, outrage, and a demand for change unfolding right now on the streets of Belarus.
They're demanding President Alexander Lukashenko's resignation, accusing him of rigging elections 2 weeks ago.
People have already been arrested, and a lot of those people have been beaten while they were in detention.
Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko told his military commanders to use the toughest measures possible to protect the country.
Unable to contain the masses and facing what was going to be a rough removal from power, Lukashenko did what every dictator does in a time of crisis. He called a friend. And who was his friend? Good old Vladimir Putin. You know what they say in the Kremlin, a friend in need is prey indeed. And I'm just playing, but yes, Putin did deliver. He announced that the Russian military would intervene if necessary, giving Lukashenko the backing he needed. This gave him the confidence to go on massive crackdowns. He jailed political opponents and journalists, shut down human rights organizations, and criminalized displays of what he called extremism. He embarked on what, up until then, was one of the grossest violations of a people by a European government in modern history. It's estimated that over 37,000 people were detained, with several of them raped, tortured, harmed, and ill-treated.
That's
wow. Nikkei's new PC version is here. Not only is the game available on...
That action permanently distanced Belarus from the West, and allied Lukashenko even closer to Russia. However, Putin doesn't help for free. Seeing that he had leverage now, in 2021, he and Lukashenko signed an agreement allowing for 28 integration programs, mainly focused on economic and regulatory questions. They also formed a joint military doctrine. Left out were the political aspects of fusing the two countries. You can say these were the seeds of the leaked document. First,
watch. You know how like that the round table, and bro is sitting right next to Putin. Later on, you're gonna be seeing him sitting on the outside. His bro is sitting. I know it's a circle table, but everybody's facing one direction because there's a one dude who's the boss. Bro gonna be facing that direction pretty soon.
First integration, and then next, a complete takeover. It might be safe to say that in Lukashenko's desire to be president for 3 decades, he sold Belarus's soul to Putin. It's hard to imagine that Putin will ever let go of Belarus given its importance to him. Why? Well, Belarus is a massive geopolitical strategic advantage for Putin and his goals. This is with an emphasis on military strategy. Belarus shares nearly 700 miles of border with Ukraine.
Damn.
And Kyiv is closer to Belarus than it is to Russia. That means it's easier to attack Kyiv from Belarus than it is from Moscow.
You know what's weird about this right here? It's how does Russia own this when this shit is so far, but then they don't own these? Like, you gotta connect to be like for real. Like, this makes no sense. You gotta connect to own this. You can't own this if you're not connected.
This is why Putin used and is using
gonna be like,
Belarus
what about
as a
Hawaii?
base for his war with Ukraine. Yes, when the war started, his troops moved through Belarus to attack Ukraine. Even now, Russian jets are flying into Ukraine from the Belarus outpost. If Putin takes over Belarus, then it will mean Russian territory directly borders NATO territory in Latvia and Poland. So what's the plan then? With the resources Putin gets from Belarus and Ukraine, no doubt, Russia, or rather this new Soviet Union, will be stronger and will become more of a presence. Is Putin's plan to strengthen the world and reclaim other Baltic states too? Or does he have other ideas in mind? The leaked documents regarding Belarus make me wonder if there are other documents regarding other surrounding nations. Is it possible that Putin has already begun his moves and we're just too blinded to see them? Whatever the case may be, one thing is true. There is no good that can come out of these secret plans. Any plan that involves taking over a nation's sovereignty is a cause that is hard to protect and support. With the rate at which all of this is unraveling, however, I doubt that we'll have to wait much longer to see how this all plays out.
Does this really surprise, let alone shocking you, when the whole argument against letting Russia end up more territories that they just end up trying to claim more in a couple of years? Really? Like, bro, I don't get, like, what is the angle here? Like, okay, you get more territory, then what? Bitch, you're gonna die in like 30 years. Then what's that territory gonna do to you? I don't get that shit, bro. I can understand if like you starting out and shit and you got like no territory and you're like king and you're like, okay, let's go conquer some places. But nigga, Russia is huge. You going down like 25 years. I lowered it by 5 because every moment you spend doing dumb shit, more karma stacks on top of you. I don't know. But damn nigga, you damn near dead. How old are you? Aren't you like 80 something? Your daughter's already 45. Like damn, bro. You don't care about your kids at this point because you're gonna start a whole World War III and this plane gonna get blown up. That's tough. What we gonna do if the plane blows up, bro? Honestly, bro, not gonna lie to you. If the plane blows up, I hope I'm the first one to go. Like, I don't want to be on a planet that's not like now, bro. If the planet is smoldering hot on one side and then cold on the other side because of all the explosions and nuclear shit going on, take me out of here. I'm not killing myself, but damn, a volcano better erupt under my house and take me out of here. Or a missile better, bro. If a missile lands here, that should better take me out 100%. I don't care, bro. You're not gonna take me out and then I'm gonna still be breathing, suffering, and all that shit. Nah, you're not doing that, bro. Nah, I don't care. But like, subscribe, see you guys later. Hope you have a good day or night. And bye. I just went on a little, yeah. Let me know your guys' thoughts.